Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're taking a look at Jurassic World Dominion. The new Colin Trevorrow film is out, and we have seen it, and we have hot takes. We also taking a look at Hustle, new Adam Sandler film produced in collaboration with LeBron James on Netflix. It is a traditional basketball story, and we watched it, and we're going to let you know what we thought. There's more to it than just traditional basketball story, I swear. We're talking about a couple of trailers that are coming up, some exciting things that are coming around the corner you might want to keep an eye on for next summer. First things first, when you get to the news, and there's a Joker sequel happening.
Yes, there
Oh my
is.
God.
Absolutely.
Wow. Bevy of news has come out this week about this from director Todd Phillips on his Instagram. Now we have stuff about a potential plot. What's going on? Fill us in.
So there was talk that there was going to be a sequel to the 2019 Joker. That film made $1 billion on like a $60-70 million budget. That was, that was not predicted to be like this massive global hit. So it's not surprising that we're getting a sequel. And yes, we saw some Instagram posts of, I almost said Keanu Reeves, of Joaquin Phoenix reading the script, which is subtitled Folie à Deux, which means shared madness, and is actually a medical term of like inherited madness, like familial almost. This hints, though, at a one Harley Quinn being part of the sequel, which is super exciting and makes a lot of sense because the Joker doesn't actually have a lot of close relationships. I thought maybe they might go with a Penguin, or they just did Riddler, but someone like that, someone else from the Rogues Gallery. But it makes a ton of sense to bring the only other person who kind of is close to the Joker in the comics, which is Harley Quinn. And just last night, the news dropped that none other than Lady Gaga herself is in talks to play that role, and that this sequel is actually going to be a musical. So a ton happening about this. What do you think of all this news?
I think somehow like a core
so
group
hyped
of
if you can't
Joker.
tell.
Yeah, Andy's very excited. I'm pretty excited. I think somehow like a core group of Joker fans is going to be maybe bothered by this news about a musical and Lady Gaga, and inversely, like a core group of film fans who may not have loved the first Joker are completely fascinated with the idea that the sequel is going to be a musical. Tons of potential for what that could mean. Very, very intrigued by how this marketing has gone. Todd Phillips just like dumping a couple photos on his Instagram and then immediately following with the story about Lady Gaga being involved is quite the marketing spin for a film that otherwise people have just kind of been waiting for. I'm sure Warner Brothers is eating this up because, yeah, the last movie was an accountant's dream, and they're totally going to make a sequel.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, the musical part. The first Joker has a lot of kind of musical-esque sequences. The famous dancing in the bathroom scene, or him dancing down the stairs has been, kind of memed. So we have a little bit of that theatrical flair, and I mean it's the Joker who that's kind of what he does. And like Lady Gaga coming on board means you're doing a serious musical here. You're not doing, I don't know, something cheap if that's who you're getting. And it's going to be amazing to see her kind of version of Harley Quinn. And for those listeners who don't know, Harley and the Joker have a very kind of abusive and toxic relationship traditionally. More recently in the comics, they've kind of broken up and been separated, and that relationship hasn't really been a thing in the comics because it is kind of a negative thing, but it completely works here. Her backstory is that she's one of the psychiatrists at the mental she's his doctor. They fall in love. She goes mad. Love to see how all that unfolds.
Yeah. The Academy denied Lady Gaga her Oscar for Best Actress in A Star Is Born. They didn't give her a shot with Ridley Scott's House of Gucci, but now Todd Phillips' Joker 2, that's going to be the money for sure.
Yeah.
It's exciting news. I think she's a good pick for casting. I love Margot Robbie, obviously, as Harley Quinn. I have no complaints about her so far. Every film she's been in, she's been fantastic. But, she's been in like 4 movies as Harley Quinn now, and it seems like as typical as superhero films, they're probably going to roll over to something new. This is also very stylistically different from her films. It would make sense for this to be a different person. So if you're gonna recast Harley Quinn, Gaga's a great pick, especially for a musical. Yeah,
Right,
that
and
makes a lot of sense.
Margot Robbie's version is very cartoonish, and it fits perfectly into what DC is doing. But this is going to be a more grounded, kind of serious take, and they may bring up themes of abuse and domestic violence, and it's going to be a much more mature film. So I'm pretty excited to see how they're gonna what the look is going to be, what she's going to sound like, how they're going to work together.
Do you think DC dumps Margot Robbie after this? Do you think she sticks around?
I think it seemed like she was kind of done with the character. Now we'll see. I mean, DC's kind of all over the place with what they're doing. They bet it all on the Flash, and look how that's going.
Yeah, it's certainly going well. God, we don't have it in here for the news, but yeah, Ezra Miller still making waves in Hawaii. Good God, I don't know where that movie's headed. Well, keep it on off script for more about Joker 2, I guess. I'm excited. Andy seems much more excited than me. So, I don't know. I'm sure we'll be talking about it again in the future. Our next story. This one's a quick one. I just kind of stuck this in last minute. Probably should have asked Andy if it was even worth talking about. Julia Garner was offered the role of Madonna in the Universal biopic about the wonderful, talented Madonna. What's interesting about this is not so much Julia Garner getting offered a role, it's that Madonna is directing her own biopic for Universal. And I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It sounds like a disaster just on its face, but I didn't know if you had any thoughts on this.
It's kind of weird. That seems like a kind of conflict of interest. Like you're not going to get a warts and all story probably if the star is behind the camera and probably a big part of the production. And I mean, I think it's probably difficult in general to get 100% the true story with a lot of these. That's definitely kind of strange. Julia Garner, I haven't really watched. I know she's in Ozark, but I haven't really watched a lot of that show. But I'm sure she's going to be fabulous. I've heard a lot of great things about her.
Yeah, she's great in Ozark. I didn't know she sings, but I mean, apparently that's the deal. Regarding this film, Universal won the script in what is claimed to be a multi-studio bidding war, and it's being produced by Amy Pascal of Sony. I think this is one of her independent pictures. I don't know. Actresses who were considered also include Florence Pugh, Euphoria star Alex Demi, and Odessa Young. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine. Madonna's directing her own biopic, like that's that I don't know. I'm not optimistic about that. Very often people who are not really into film don't just jump in first time doing something that's incredibly personal and it go really well. Like typically those can be mid to a flop, but we'll see. Next story. Spider-Man No Way Home is returning to theaters with added footage in the More Fun Stuff version. This was just announced this week. Andy, what the hell is Spider-Man No Way Home More Fun Stuff version?
Spider-Man's coming back to theaters this Labor Day weekend, September 2nd, with new scenes and extended scenes. So it's an extended cut of the massively one of the most successful movies of all time now, Spider-Man No Way Home. And so that's going to be coming to us Labor Day weekend.
This is a little surprising because Spider-Man No Way Home not only was a film that pretty much everybody went and saw, but it was already a long movie. And as far as we can tell, this announcement does not actually specify how much more footage will be in the film. Doesn't really clarify what kind of new scenes are getting added. They just said that, quote, you wanted more Spidey and you got it when they announced it on Twitter on Friday. Post includes a video of the film stars Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire all talking about being Spider-Man and inviting people to come watch. It's pretty vague, but I gotta be honest. I do kind of respect the on the nose marketing. The More Fun Stuff version is a lot more exciting than Spider-Man No Way Home Extended Edition in theaters.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's essentially just a re-release of the movie. There's maybe nothing opening that weekend. Labor Day weekend's a pretty big film going weekend, and why not? You probably grab a few more million off the property, and entice people back with some footage they maybe haven't seen. So not too surprising. That'll be fun.
See, this is what Sony should have done with that Morbius re-release. The Morbius more Morb stuff edition. Morbin time. That would have made more sense. But this movie's probably going to pick up a few more $1 million. Why not? Right? Like teenagers, whoever, it's bored on Labor Day weekend is going to be like, oh yeah, I can go see Spider-Man again. And look, there's extra stuff. Whatever. I don't know. I guess not surprised. Disney did this. Well, not Disney. 20th Century Fox. Whoever owned Deadpool when they did this a couple times with Deadpool. I think, like they put out longer versions. I know Disney owns them now. I guess 20th Century Fox owned them before. Why not? Why not take your popular superhero movie and tack on 6 more minutes of CGI and put it back in theaters? Sure.
It'll be 10 minutes longer, and that'll be like,
it can't be much more. I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine how much more is in there, but keep it on our script for more. Our last story from the box office: Jurassic World Dominion bites off a $145 million opening. Movie's going to make $1 billion, Andy. The dinosaurs are back.
That's true. Jurassic World Dominion opened hugely better than expectations. It was predicted to maybe get around 120. So blew that out of the water. The bigger story here is that Top Gun Maverick continues to really have legs and continue to do well. It dropped to number 2 in its third week, but it actually just today hit 400 million domestic, which actually makes it the second most successful film of the pandemic domestically. That means it made more money than Batman and Doctor Strange domestically, and it could be $1 billion movie. And
Tom Cruise best. Second only to Spider-Man No Way Home for now, which, like we just said, we'll be getting a soon re-release that might buff that out a little bit more. But I mean, I said this the last couple shows. It's easy to look at the current state of the theatrical landscape and understand that, of course, Top Gun 2 did great. But like in the weeks leading up to this, like I really didn't know. Could have been a flop. Like I'm impressed. It's still got legs. Like good for Top Guns. When do we get the Top Gun more fun stuff version?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. It'll get re-released, sequel announced. Threequel announced.
That's right. Yeah, the Stars and Stripes edition of Top Gun Maverick. I think Top Gun's going to continue crushing it. I'm sure Paramount's going to try to keep it in theaters as long as possible. Also, one more thing worth noting. Apparently Tom Cruise had to push a lot to keep this movie in theaters for like the full theatrical window. Paramount, like many other studios, not really interested in doing this following the pandemic. Shorter windows push films to streaming quicker, which means people at home can watch them sooner. And that's been really popular. But Tom Cruise really had to fight for it with Top Gun 2. And I think he was fighting for it with Mission Impossible. I'm sure he's not going to have a struggle with that anymore. Like they're just absolutely going to say, yes, sir, we'll run your movie as long as you want in theaters. Please make a movie with us, Tom Cruise. So good for him. Good for Tom. Good for the United States Navy. God bless America. Top Gun 2 still crushing it. But now, Andy, we have a much bigger fish to fry. All right, of Jurassic proportions,
prehistoric proportions.
Yes, and Colin Trevorrow's third and final Jurassic World film. You want to do the honors here?
Sure thing. Jurassic World Dominion. So this is the 3rd/6th installment of the Jurassic Park franchise, 6th in the overall series, 3rd in the Jurassic World series. This plot is super complicated and there's a lot going on, so I'm gonna do my best to kind of sum it up. Follow the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the second one. We find a world that is littered with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs have escaped the park or wherever they were being held and now live kind of side by side, somewhat peacefully with humans. Not really. That's the setting. That's actually not a huge plot point as much as you might think. We find our stars, Owen and Claire, in hiding with the cloned British girl from the last movie, and they're also hiding the blue raptors, kind of in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. Looks like this plot sounds a lot like a soap opera. Like it's over the cloned girl of the.
I'm very much enjoying you trying to decipher this in a succinct manner for us. So please continue.
Right. We also have our stars from the original movie, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill are back, and they're almost in a separate movie at the beginning. There's this plot about giant prehistoric locusts that are ravaging crops and fields in the Midwest and are threatening the food supply chain. And that, believe it or not, is the main kind of problem or obstacle to solving this movie are these locusts and how to stop them. It's not about the dinosaurs. It's literally about these locusts. Um, so that I haven't even gotten to where we go.
I know. I'm impressed. You're doing good.
Yeah, we eventually end up at the Biosyn facility, which is where all these groups eventually converge, where there are dinosaurs in a park, which once again get loose, and people have to hide from them. Rescue this, hide from that, try not to die. In not so exciting fashion. It's a huge mess. There's so much going on in this, and there are literally like 7 or 8 main characters. There are 3 characters from the original trilogy, 3 characters in the new trilogy, and then we are introduced to even newer characters. So, ton going on. There's some dinosaurs in there occasionally. Zach, what did you think?
This movie's a mess. It's way too busy, and it's somehow really boring. The writing is a miss. It's trying way too hard to elevate itself from the previous movie, and it's particularly like controversial ending. In that dinosaurs are now just roaming about the world freely, and nobody can stop them. I did not like Jurassic World Dominion. I was incredibly bored. I really did not like it. So let's get into it, because it's not all bad. You don't spend this much money on a 2.5-hour movie and not get at least some redeeming qualities. Like, there are some things that work here. I do want to talk about those, but like, I just on its face, I didn't like the last 2, and I didn't like this one either.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and I think the worst thing about it is that it's just super boring. Like, that's the worst thing a movie can be, is uninteresting, and you keep checking your watch. And this is 2.5 hours long. It is so long. It goes on forever. Act 1 is like a solid hour long. And also it's so destructive. Like I said, you have way too many characters, and you have way too many plot strands. I think I've counted like 4 or 5 plot strands that happen, and there's also plots that just kind of disappear, or the things that happen at the beginning of the movie and then are just never resolved or never come back to again. There are characters like there's the 2 younger characters that were in the first 2 Jurassic World films are in this briefly, and then you never see them again, which it kind of points to a larger issue of all these legacy franchises that just cannot hand off their property to new characters. They really fail introducing us to new people to fall in love with, and so they just did in this movie. They just got rid of the new characters and said, no, we brought back the legends. It's really bizarre. It's all over the place. There's it's not very exciting. Like, everyone's got plot armor. You're not worried about anyone dying, essentially. And then there's just too many of them. Like, there's one part where there's literally 7 or 8 people like trying to hide behind a car from a T-Rex, and I'm like, how has this group not been eaten in half yet?
Yeah, like I know the world of Colin Trevorrow's Jurassic World is a very far cry from Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Like, I get that. But like, it feels like they have sold every element that made these movies fun and suspenseful and interesting completely down the river in favor of like generic CGI fluff, nostalgia bait, mainstream hokum nonsense, and Jurassic World Dominion is like the pinnacle of this. I think Jurassic World was all right. Like, I didn't love it, but it was definitely a promising start for a kind of new take on Jurassic Park. It had problems, but it was okay. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was messy, but it had the whole volcano blown up on the island, and all that was kind of cool. This movie, though, like, it's just like they were, I don't know, like stumbling over the finish line. Like, could not get to credits fast enough, but also felt like it had so much to do because it's juggling so many characters.
Yeah, it feels like 3 different movies happening at the same time.
If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see where we put up like a little title card with the poster and some info and a screen cap from the movie. I pulled this screen cap from IMDb. It's got 7 characters on it. And this was one of the ones with less characters because I had others I was going to use with more people, but I thought it was too confusing visually. Like, this isn't even it. The movie poster itself has 7 people on it. That's the official poster alongside the logo. And it's like the first 3 Jurassic Park posters had nobody on the poster. And I'm not saying sticking characters on posters defines where we're headed, but my God, like, this movie just has too much going on. You're absolutely right. It feels like 3 movies slammed together. And what's funny is only one of those movies is even remotely good. And the other ones are pretty bad.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. I mean, I remember I was there when it happened. I saw it in theaters, and it's a thriller, and it has real scary moments. The first time you saw it, you honestly don't know who is and who isn't going to make it because they avoided getting any really big stars. They didn't get. They didn't get Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks for that matter. Anyone that well, they're not. Probably Jeff Goldblum was probably the biggest name in that movie. So you really didn't know who was and wasn't going to make it, and people didn't. Like, a lot of people don't make it through all of that film, and now this is starting to feel kind of the way Game of Thrones did in the last few seasons, where like they became really afraid to kill anyone off. And I feel like they need to kill everyone off in this. And unfortunately, our aging stars, they don't really have much to do, and it's. It's a struggle, and it reminds me of every legacy sequel that has done this: The Force Awakens, The Matrix, Ghostbusters. They just cannot hand off the property to a new generation. Like, they lean so hard on the old stars that we're not making any progress forward.
Yeah, the old stars are, to me, a highlight of the film. They're not necessarily good in this movie. Sam Neill.
They don't have anything to do.
Look, I love Sam Neill to death, but like, that man can barely hide the accent. Like, it's coming through in half his lines. Yeah, it's coming through in half his lines. Goldblum is trying so hard to be anything other than Jeff Goldblum, and it doesn't really work. Like, he
was great. I think he's probably the best character in this.
Yeah, movie. And like, Laura Dern's fine. She's fine. She's got a line about sliding into DMs. It's like, oh God, like it's like nails on a chalkboard here in Laura Dern try to be trendy in a popular film. But for the most part, they get a decent plot line. Like, they kind of have this travel into
They're focused on the locusts.
Yeah, this kind of science lab that's very inspired by Apple. There's this Tim Cook style villain who we have heading up everything. Yeah, and they're focused on kind of figuring out this locust problem, which is a tremendous misdirect from what should be the actual problem in the movie. The damn dinosaurs. Like, that would normally be the issue in a Jurassic Park movie, but they've opted not to do that here. Meanwhile, like, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, who have no chemistry in this movie. They didn't have any chemistry in the other movies. They still don't here. They are stiff as boards, and they are working with this young girl from the previous movie, and they're kind of parenting her, and they're struggling to raise her right. And like, it's just like, it's so unbelievable. And they are constantly on like backlot sets with green screen walls behind them to CGI dinosaurs in. And it's just clumsy, and like, it doesn't get better from there. The first act is such a drag. God, like the first 40 minutes of this movie are just like, it just takes forever to get going.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's like an exposition dump because you have to get with the old characters, talk about the locust problem, get with the new characters, talk about the clone girl, and them getting kidnapped, and then there's this subplot of that goes nowhere about a kind of black market dinosaur trade that's happened since dinosaurs are everywhere. And it opens with them like freeing a tiny triceratops from like, some sort of lab. And the first part of the movie is kind of preoccupied with that. And then it just abandons it. There's this weird Jason Bourne-esque sequence where they're in Malta and there's like shootouts, gunfire, fisticuffs, a motorcycle chase. You feel like you're in a James Bond movie, and it's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, they introduced this at least kind of momentarily cool idea from the end of 2, a raptor laser. Because rather than just shoot Chris Pratt with a gun, they hit him with a targeting laser, and then a raptor will chase him forever, and he has to get away, which is just just the dumbest idea I've ever heard for a weapon. But anyway, they hit him with this laser, and then he hops on a motorcycle and he's tearing through the streets of Malta while 2 raptors chase him. It's in the trailer. You can go take a look. And at least that's kind of interesting. Never comes back again. That
Yeah.
raptor laser is
Black
one
market,
and done, baby.
black market plot. Never,
Yeah, right. Like completely closes off. We don't need it anymore. We don't have time. We got to get to the more important stuff, which is the evil corporation that's harvesting dinosaur DNA for their own nefarious plot. A plot line we've never seen in a Jurassic Park film. It's just, it feels somehow paint by numbers, even though it's trying to do something new and different. It just feels so structured. Act one, act two, act three. You know exactly where it's going. I don't know. I was just bored. I was bored.
Yeah, I think that's the worst thing, because you can have like, mindless fun. We talked about things like Godzilla versus Kong. Like I'm not there for the human plot line. I'm there to see monsters fight, and that's what you get to see. When you see a Fast and Furious movie, you're there for the action and family, and it
Family. Yeah.
and that's what you get, and that's like those movies they're popcorn flicks. You turn off your brain, you just enjoy the action, and you have fun. And this wasn't like that at all. It wasn't fun. It was so boring and so long. And like they wasted these classic characters, didn't have anything for them to do, didn't have anything really for the new characters to do. It was just, yeah, so boring. No, hardly any dinosaurs in the dinosaur movie. Stupid plot about bugs.
Yeah. They're just really, really clumsy. They spent $185 million making this movie. That's what this movie cost. And while I was watching
None
it,
of it went to writers.
there were two. Well, right, and for what it's worth, hey, I'm glad Laura Dern's out getting the bag. Good for her, right? Like, why not? Jeff Goldblum, go collect your paycheck, my man. Like, sure, good for them. No ill will towards them, and a bit of it goes towards effects and animatronics. The dinos look great. There aren't. I feel like there's not a lot of them in there. There are, but like they're just uniquely spread out by boring plot elements. But I kept thinking of 2 other movies while I was watching this movie, Jurassic World Dominion. Number 1, last year's Godzilla versus Kong. A very different film from a very different studio, but like Godzilla v Kong goes to some really odd places and features a lot of giant CGI animals that our characters have to run around and can't really grapple with one-on-one. And like I kept thinking how much more interested I was in that film's plot and pacing. Like just keeps you tuned in a little bit because it's doing something different. It's a little bit more fantastical. It spreads its wings further, and I feel like that carries the plot and therefore the audience further with it. And the other movie I kept thinking of, and I need to stop doing this because it's a terrible film to compare to anything else, was A24's Everything Everywhere All at Once, a movie that was made on like peanuts and like just has so much more substance and tone and depth to every frame versus this $185 million monstrosity. Just a real miss from director Colin Trevorrow in my opinion.
Well, and he was to remind me, he was fired from Star Wars Episode 9 for, I guess, creative differences, and that movie is a disaster as well. And that kind of remind me of this. It was like, well, we got to throw everything and the kitchen sink in this movie, wrap it up somehow. It doesn't really have to make a whole lot of sense, and that's kind of exactly what we get. And I think the worst thing I realized about this, because this is going to be successful, it's made a ton of money, it's probably going to be $1 billion movie. It almost feels like we don't need the Spielbergs of the world anymore. It used to be you needed like you wanted to make the most money, you wanted to make a blockbuster, you had to get the best creatives around, and now you don't. You just need the right IP and throw whoever behind the camera.
Right. And like meanwhile, even Spielberg's remaking movies. Like I don't want to agree with you, but I do agree very much with the idea that like these studios have got to learn to hand properties off. Like you've got to stop doing this thing where you just bring back the old actors and actresses over and over and over again, because it invests in nothing in the culture in the future of these properties. Yeah, like it's just making a buck today. We don't care where the story goes next time. We'll just do what we're doing. Some studios have figured out a way around this. Some have been clever. Marvel has embraced the idea of a multiverse, so they can tell all kinds of stories across spaces. They're one of the most exciting studios in the industry right now, like them or not. Like, but God, Jurassic World is just not it, man. Like, it's just flat and dry, and it just it's like burnt toast.
Right, and like I said, we can look back at the Force Awakens and the promise of what we thought that movie was, and how that movie also we didn't fall in love with the new characters, and they had a lot of potential, and then you don't have that. Should have mapped out the next 10-15 years of Star Wars, and it didn't. And you're exactly right. You're not going to get 10 years of films worth if you're constantly just leaning back on nostalgia.
Being that this is likely the end of Jurassic World for a little while, any thoughts on Colin Trevorrow's three film arc here, follow up to Jurassic Park? I mean,
total hack.
Overall, I'm not impressed.
Total hack.
Okay, yeah. Overall, I'm not impressed by his work here. The film that got him these movies is a movie called Safety Not Guaranteed, an indie that's on Netflix. After that, he did a movie called The Book of Henry, which was terrible, and he's been doing these ever since. And I think the man needs to move to smaller budgets. I do. He doesn't have anything announced on IMDb for his next project. Probably a good thing. Maybe take a break.
Also these films, I feel like these are just like filmed by committee. The studio tells you what they want. They're like, we want action, we want romance, we want the dinosaurs, and just make it work. Yeah, like you're kind of told what to do, and then they just have a manager essentially make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that makes for a boring movie. Andy, would you recommend Jurassic World Dominion?
Absolutely not. Like, hard pass, the hardest pass. Like, don't see it in theaters. Don't wait for it on streaming. It's so boring. It is so boring and so long, and doesn't do any. And even if you're a fan of Jurassic Park, like, still skip it. You're not missing anything out. Go back and watch Jurassic Park again. Watch that twice, and you instead of watching this, it is just it's bad and it's boring.
Yeah, this it's 100% agree. This movie's so bad, it's got people on Twitter going back and being like, you know what? Actually, Jurassic Park 3 wasn't that bad of a movie. And it's true. Like, at least that movie keeps you engaged. Like, this is so dull. The 10-year-old sitting next to me was bored out of their mind. People were getting on their phones in the film on opening night. Like, just bad. Skip it. Hard pass. Yeah, just go watch the original 3 Jurassic Park movies again if you really feel like you want to get a piece. Even for kids, this is boring. Like, I just
it's way too long for them as well. Like,
yeah.
Top Gun Maverick is probably a really good example of something that is like, I mean, it's essentially a popcorn flick. It's not super serious, but it's very good, really entertaining, really
right.
engaging.
It's well paced. Yeah, it keeps you engaged for the runtime of the movie. Not Jurassic World Dominion. This is it's worst of the year material, I think. Like, honestly,
it's definitely going on my list.
Biggest blunder. Might be the biggest blunder of the year so far, and it's gonna make $1 billion. Like, wait, so how much of a blunder is it really? I'm sure there's some wise ass out there in the comments who will tell us that, like, well, it did well, so what do you know? And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it has any cultural value. Like, nobody's gonna wear T-shirts with Jurassic World Dominion on it. Like, it's not actually gonna move the needle at all. Universal's gonna make some money, great for them. I hope Colin Trevorrow never makes another Jurassic Park movie again.
Stay away from the camera.
Yes, please, God. And with that, we should move into our next segment. This one's a bit amended this week because we don't have a lot of exciting, immediate new things that, well, you know what? Andy, could you introduce the segment for us?
It's time for the trailer park.
Perfect. Not a lot of exciting new trailers out right now that we really want to talk about, but the ones we have are really exciting. First up, it's we didn't actually work out an order for these, did we?
Why don't you
We
do?
sure did. First up, Andy's changing the outline mid-show. Yeah, first up is the trailer for DC's new superhero film, Black Adam. Black Adam is the story of The Rock, or at least his exciting superhero that he's been trying to get greenlit for like 5 years. It is a kind of a spin-off character from the world of Shazam. You may remember the Zachary Levi film from a few years ago. It's directed by David Sandberg. Black Adam is supposed to have all the powers of Superman, except also magic. And he doesn't have a moral compass and seems to be willing to kill people. In the comics, I think he's a bad guy. In this film, he looks a bit like an anti-hero. Also stars Pierce Brosnan. Andy, what do you think of the Black Adam trailer?
I've been calling it Bland Adam.
Bland Adam is hilarious. We have Bland Adam trending.
It's just super generic. Like this movie was announced in like 2014, and with the Rock is gonna, to play this hero. And I think the movie was supposed to come out in 2019, and it's been delayed. I was really looking forward to this, and again, it just looks kind of cliche. Maybe the movie will be more than that, but the trailer didn't do a lot for me. Black Adam again, just he looks like The Rock. Someone were we talking about this before, where he doesn't look like a different person. He just looks like The Rock in costume.
Yeah. So I somebody pointed that out on TikTok, and I thought it was a good observation. The Rock in the Black Adam outfit, like from the pecs down, he's wearing a suit and he looks like Black Adam, but up top, it's just the bald The Rock. His eyebrows aren't weird. He doesn't have contacts in. Like most heroes are at least a little different. Chris Hemsworth has long hair and a beard. Zachary Levi as Shazam had like a big pompadour, and like they at least
change the
characterize something else. It's just The Rock. It is so clearly The Rock. I love it.
I think what I was most excited for are I think it's Justice Society of America. There's a couple of other heroes that show up in the trailer. We see Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and the Atom Smasher, and there's also a character named Cyclone who's going to be in this. This is kind of like it's like a junior Justice League, or kind of different group of heroes. I was more excited about that. Pierce Brosnan playing Dr. Fate. He almost puts on the helmet, and I was like 10 times excited about that than Black Adam himself. And for those who don't know, Dr. Fate, he's kind of a wizard, and a little bit like Doctor Strange. It's not real. I'm not real sure what his powers are. He just looks really cool, which is I think why he's
master of the mystic arts kind of.
Yeah, they're like his powers are what we need them to be.
Yes,
but he looks super cool. But I was much more excited about the other people besides The Rock's character. It was just super generic. Is he here to save the world or destroy it? Similar to Morbius.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very exciting, which is disappointing because I've really been looking forward to it. It will probably still be pretty good. DC has done much better with their one-off properties, and we have yet to see what kind of like villain or what the antagonist of this will be. And this is slated to come out in October.
Yeah, keep it here for more on Black Adam. It looks okay. It looks a little generic. Effects look good. Yeah, like costumes are good. We'll have to see. One other trailer to talk about. Andy, you mind taking this one?
Yes, we saw the second trailer to Nope, which is Jordan Peele's latest effort, which will come out July 22nd. We got a little bit more of the plot, which seems to revolve around again this Hollywood horse farm that Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer own together, and they seem to like they see these aliens and they're like, hey, we need to make a buck. We need to record it. We need to get them on video, and then we need to monetize that somehow. So it's actually a very grounded plot. It's like, hey, we got to save the farm. There's aliens. We should get that on video. It's very like not how you would think, but it seems like most aliens, they're not none too friendly. There's a lot of action in the trailer. It doesn't really. Some people said it gives too much away. I don't think it really does. It does because it doesn't tell us really what's happening or why the aliens are here or any of that. There's just a lot of action.
I haven't actually watched this trailer yet. Because when it came out, I was excited to see a new trailer for Nope because we've seen the first trailer like 8 dozen times because it's been running for a year. Coming up on release, we finally have a new trailer, and the first comments I saw on it were, "Hey, if you want to go in fresh, don't watch this because it gives a ton away." And he doesn't think so. And I did know about the kind of monetizing the aliens bit. The first trailer makes it much more horror oriented, and the second trailer reveals a bit more of like, "Hey, here's the hustle." And I think that's probably clever. I think that's that like Jordan Peele's kind of offbeat approach to horror films is what makes him exciting as a director. I'm excited to find out more. And just like I think the last horror movie I did this with, where I didn't watch the full trailer, was Last Night in Soho. I was like averting my eyes in the movie theater. I was like, I don't want to watch it, and I came out disappointed. Hopefully, this one is a bit more, bit brighter on the other side.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Jordan Peele's got a great eye for behind the camera and is a great writer, and I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, me too. And that's it for the trailer park. Tidy this week, but there's a lot of exciting things coming out that we'll be keeping you up to date with in the future. Keep it here on Off Script for more. And one more thing before we wrap up the show, we got to review Hustle. Hustle is the story of Stanley Sugarman, a scout for the Sixers, apparently one of the best scouts they've ever had, who discovers upon the untimely death of the owner of the Sixers, his young son, played by Ben Foster, and a real goofy looking bald cap, is none too kind towards Stanley and his career. When he's out on the road in Spain, he discovers a young basketball player, Bo Cruz, and he decides to bring him back to the States, train him up, and hopefully get him into the NBA combine so Bo can get a spot in the NBA and Stanley can get his reputation back. The movie stars Adam Sandler and is on Netflix, produced in collaboration with LeBron James and what appears to be a ton of licensed basketball properties from the NBA. There's a ton of players, lots of teams, lots of footage, lots of scenes shot in headquarters, logos, all kinds of stuff. It's a basketball fan's dream. The movie is Hustle. Andy, what'd you think?
This wasn't too bad. I think this is better than kind of the average Netflix film. Honestly, it's still a little kind of cliche and paint by number, but I think it's made really well. I was really into it the kind of the first hour, and then it just kind of you kind of know what's happening after that. It does the one thing that I think sports movies are bad at. This reminded me of King Richard, where they don't really get into the weeds of the sport, and they're just like, oh yeah, you're just supposed to trust that they're good just because, without really knowing or being shown why this person is so much better. And then also a lot of the characters are just they're a little wasted. Like Adam Sandler's character is interesting, but then like Ben Foster doesn't get a lot of scenes. Robert Duvall doesn't get a lot of scenes. Like the supporting cast isn't really there. Like it's a fun, if not predictable sports movie. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's fine. Honestly, visually, I think it's one of Netflix's better in recent days. The director, Jeremiah Zagar, is a first-time feature director. Previously, he's done music videos, smaller kind of docu-minis, and the cinematographer, I don't recall their name, same boat. Like small stuff, hasn't really jumped into anything new. But the film stars Adam Sandler doing one of his better Adam Sandler performances of recent days, like because he's usually pretty hit or miss. And uniquely, like it's a movie that looks good, but is just a little paint by numbers. What's frustrating to me about Hustle is that it forgets one of the most important rules of cinema: you want to show, not tell. And Hustle does a lot of telling and not really showing. You do get some good basketball play, right? But like it's just kind of generic footage. Like, oh yeah, Bo Cruz dunked on a guy.
He dunks over everyone. Okay.
Right? Yeah. Wow. He sure can hit a three from the paint, can he? You don't even hit a three from the paint. I don't watch a lot of basketball, but
goes hard in the paint.
He goes hard in the paint. Yeah, right. The man can sink a three from half court. I don't know. Like it doesn't do a good job of visualizing that for you. Like we find out that Bo Cruz is a good player because we see a little footage of him, and Adam Sandler's character Stanley Sugarman says he's a good character, and he tells his boss he's a good player, and his boss goes, I think he's okay. And then we see him some more, and people go, yeah, he's really good, but like we don't feel that he's good because the movie doesn't do a very good job of just giving that to us. He's a larger than life player. He's played by who is this actor who plays him? Juancho Hernan Gomez, who is also who I think is just an NBA player. I'm pretty sure. Like I don't know who he plays for, but I think he's already a basketball player. And he's fine. And Adam Sandler's good. It's just the script's a little dry, and the editing is just a little paint by numbers.
Yeah, this movie suffers from like the lack of character development. We don't really get into any of our characters. Usually you would have, you know, just more on each. I was reminded of a $1 Million Baby, which is one of my favorite sports movies about boxing, and Clint Eastwood and I can't remember her name right now. Hilary Swank are in that, and they have a very kind of, they butt heads a lot. You know, they're both very, very stubborn people, but that's part of what makes them work. But you really get inside both of their characters and their motivations. They try to give Bo Cruz a little bit of a backstory, and they're like, "Oh, he's a good kid, but he got in a fight once and he hurt a guy, and you know, but he was only that one time. He didn't mean it." And you know, it's just it's done kind of lazily, and I mean, he just doesn't. I guess like you said, maybe he's an NBA player or he's a basketball player. He's not an actor because he's just not given a lot of lines or chances to act. And we just don't get into our characters very much. It's very stock.
Yeah, there's a couple of training montages in the film. You know, there's a very kind of generic Rocky style hill that our character has to run up in a certain amount of time and then by the end of the music montage, they make it up to the top. You know, arms up. Oh, he did it. But what's weird is like once this guy gets over to the NBA, once he leaves Spain and comes to America, in Spain he's already a very good player. But then he comes over to America and he's balling against NBA guys, and Sandler's like, we got to get you in shape, man. You can't run up this hill very fast. And I'm looking at the guy. I'm like, this guy is in pristine shape. Like he doesn't. What do you mean? And then by the time the training montage is over, he looks the damn same. Like at least Sylvester Stallone looked a little different by the end of the montage. Like there was actually some training and effort in between there, but like it's just like they shot it in a couple of days. Oh, now he's strong when like visually he looks the exact same as he did.
They're like he's faster because they tell us he's faster.
Yeah. Right. I don't need him to have big bulging muscles, but like make me feel like my character has grown as a person, right? Don't just tell me from another character's point of view that they've grown as a person. The movie's called Hustle, but like you never actually feel the hustle. It's like it's like if Ocean's 8 was called Hustle, it'd fit better, you know? Uncut Gems could have been called Hustle and it would have been a better title than this movie because it never really owns what it's trying to be.
Yeah, I never feel like he's never not a good player. I was like, he doesn't have a lot to go because he's already in great shape. He can already like outplay guys. He's already.
And they still have like 3 training montages. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
and there's some culture clash of he's new to the States and some things like that. But it's just again, it's super predictable, and it just needed to all be fleshed out more. Like there's a good movie in here somewhere. It just needed more time, and this is. Again, Netflix's biggest thing. It's always the writing that suffers the most.
Mm-hmm. And the edit, like I said, a quick mention for the editing. The editor is Sandler's editor on all of his Netflix features. Just a Happy Madison guy. He did Hubie Halloween and Ridiculous Six, and so it's just a little, you know, I don't want to say cut and paste, but it's very safe. They're not doing anything that's too drastic in here. I'll mention a couple other people in the cast. Queen Latifah was on set for one day, and they filmed all of her scenes. She plays Sandler's wife. Maybe 2 days. She's in here a bit. She's got a couple costume changes, but she's on the same set the whole time. She never leaves the house in the film. And Ben Foster, who plays the new owner of the Sixers, picking up in Robert Duvall's shoes, who's in a couple of scenes in the movie, has a really goofy looking bald cap. Like he's fun. I like Ben Foster a lot, actually. I wish he got more work, but he gets done dirty in this.
Brainiac.
Yeah. And then one quick mention for Jaleel White, our very own Steve Urkel, who is in this movie. He barely ever gets on-screen roles, and for some reason, he's a minor character here. He gets like 3 lines. Hey, great, good for Jaleel White, man.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was going to be in the. I forgot that he was in this already because he doesn't show back up.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like you just see him at the open, you're like, all right, yeah, there's Urkel, and then it never, yeah, poor guy can't get away from it. But um, I want to say more about this movie. I feel like if you're a basketball fan, you're probably going to appreciate it a lot more. I know Sandler is a diehard basketball fan, and typically he only jumps into projects that he feels like he's going to enjoy himself on set for. That's why he makes all his movies out in Hawaii or, cool vacation destinations. And I can tell he wanted to do this movie because he likes basketball so much. A ton of collaboration with real players who appear as themselves. The movie ends with this really long credits montage of all these players who are showing up in the movie
Yeah.
and doing cool basketball things on screen. And that's all great. It has no cultural value to me as the viewer because I don't do a lot of basketball stuff. But I feel like if you're a basketball fan, this is going to be a lot more up your alley than it was for me. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. There's not too much to say. It's a very safe film. It's enjoyable, and I think it is better than the average Netflix film. I think it is very well made. Just a little paint by number.
Yeah, and again, well shot. Like that was the one other thing that stood out to me. Lots of good lighting, good shadows, lots of good handheld camera to make things feel grounded. Like pretty well shot and pretty well directed. It's just a little safe script and safe editing. With that, we should probably move into recommendations. Andy, would you recommend Hustle?
I would say save it for streaming, which it is already on. It's a nice, safe film. Watch it with the family. Watch it with your mom. Definitely, if you're a big basketball fan, I think it's definitely for you. At the same time, you might want more out of a basketball film. But it's all right. It's safe. Like it's okay.
Yeah, Hustle's fine. Yeah, I think if you're a basketball fan, you love that. You get down to that March Madness and you need 90 minutes to burn on Netflix, you're probably gonna enjoy Hustle. Sandler's good in it. It's not just him phoning it in. I think he's actually giving it some effort. Newcomer Juancho Hernan Gomez is pretty good. Like he's dry, but like I don't know. Yeah, Hustle. Why not? Right? For producer LeBron James, available on Netflix, and that wraps our show for the week. Andy, what are we watching next week?
To infinity and beyond.
Oh right. To infinity and beyond. That's
we will
right.
be watching Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear film by Pixar, which comes out this Friday, June 17th, exclusively in theaters, not on any streaming service, including Disney Plus. So that's going to be theaters only. And we're going to actually be taking a break next week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. And we'll also be watching Elvis.
It's going to be a good show. It's going to be good back-to-back features.
Which comes out June 24th. Exclusively in theaters as well, and some other releases just to keep you aware of. Netflix's Spiderhead comes out this Friday as well, which is like some sort of spy espionage thing with Chris Hemsworth. So that's something you can check out this weekend. Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, which was a movie with Emma Thompson where she hires like a gigolo or something. That comes out on Hulu. It's like a Harold and Maude thing. Father of the Bride remake comes out this weekend on Friday as well on HBO Max. And then also on June 24th, same day as Elvis, is The Black Phone, which is the horror kidnapper movie starring Ethan Hawke. That movie was supposed to come out in like January, and they delayed it all the way to now. So, but a lot of smaller movies coming out in the next couple weeks as well.
You want to take us just a stab at how much money you think the Black Phone's going to make opening weekend? I'll bet under 20 million. And I know how popular horror movies are, but like, God, it looks so mid.
Yeah,
I feel like every trailer I've seen in the theater, people are getting their phones.
It looks like it
because they're bored.
It looks like an it ripoff.
Yes, a lot of the lean on children to carry the film, and like it's a real slippery slope. Lightyear and Elvis. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with those. I'm excited to talk about them. This is Pixar's first return to exclusively theaters since the pandemic, right? They haven't done that since whatever came before Soul. They've been getting pushed to Disney Plus. I know Pixar people are excited to be back in studios, and Disney is excited to have their big shareholder property, Lightyear, out and making money. So we'll watch that. And yeah, Elvis. God, any long shots on Baz Luhrmann's Elvis? I heard Guillermo del Toro said it was really good. So
I think it's gonna bomb.
I
don't want it. I don't want it to. Like,
bomb.
I think it's going to be a great performance. I've heard kind of mixed things about the movie itself, but
Austin Butler's a pretty face. I think he'll draw some crowds. Right? People want to see what he's got going on. He's supposed to be really good in it.
Again, it's a movie aimed at older crowds, and Top Gun has been the only movie to get older crowds out. So
it's true.
We'll see. I think it's going to get buried behind Top Gun, Jurassic World, and Lightyear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, keep it here on Off Script for Lightyear and Elvis. And the easiest way to keep it here on Off Script is just subscribe to Off Script Film Review on your favorite podcast device or Facebook. If that's where you're watching the live stream, you can follow us very quickly with the buttons in the top right. I don't know what the buttons are to follow us on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, where we upload our live streams every week. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia, all the usual places. Instagram, Twitter. You can check out our website, we can check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, or you can email us correspondence about the show, maybe some things you liked, some things you didn't, suggestions, comments, quips, arguments, to mail at offscriptfilmreview.com. If it's good stuff, we'll read it on the air. Who knows? You might just get your own segment. We might invite you on and defend your, we probably wouldn't invite you on, but I don't know, write into the show. Tell us what you think of what's going on. We appreciate it. We appreciate you hanging out and listening to Off Script Film Review, episode 180. God, we're coming up on 200, Andy. We got to do something big.
Wow.
I want to get a bounce house. I print some t-shirts. Get a cake. I don't know. With all of that being out of the way, I suppose we should wrap the show. From all of us at Off Script, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.